first days, Elrond would call upon the folk in his household to gather in the Hall of Fire. It was mainly a quiet place where people could sit and think. But at times, especially on high days, the elves of Rivendell gathered in the Hall of Fire and shared stories, poems, and songs. This evening is just such a gathering.
All right, and so begins the Hall of Fire. We call upon any of you to have a song, poem, verse, or anything else that would be appropriate for this evening to come forth. We await anyone. Someone.
Do a tap dance, Gandalf.
What?
Do a tap dance, Gandalf.
It's not soft shoe, that's old shoe. All right, I was threatened with mayhem if I didn't do this. So. I wanted to do 2 pieces, and I was asked to give a little bit of an overview. How many of you have read the poem Earendil the Mariner?
Me.
I think a lot of us have, or a lot of us may have just kind of read a little bit of it and skipped over it. It's a fairly long poem from The Lord of the Rings. And traditionally, Bilbo has done it. Bilbo? Would you care to do this? It's Bilbo's poem. But the history of Earendil, Earendil was the father of Elrond and Elbereth, and his wife Elwing. He, during the First Age, traveled to find Valinor to gain the help of the Valar in their fight against Morgoth. His first trip there, he couldn't penetrate through the veil that they had built around Valinor. So he returned, and Elwing gave him the Silmaril that she had received, and it was ultimately taken from Morgoth's crown. With it, he was able to ultimately come to Valinor and receive the help of the Valar. But at the same time, the doom was written that he would never return to Middle-earth himself. So Vingalote, his new ship, would become the evening and the morning star. So that's the background of this play. And it's set, as far as I know, it's never been set to music, perhaps has. Someone mentioned they had heard it at least one time. So I'm going to give this a shot. This is set actually to a Gregorian tune. It's long, so you might want to charge your glasses again. Earendil was a mariner that tarried in Arthurian. He built a boat of timber fell in Elbereth to journey in. Her sails he wove of silver fair, of silver were her lanterns made. Her brow was fashioned like a swan, and light upon her banners laid. In panoply of ancient kings, in chained rings he armored him. His shining shield was scored with runes, to ward all wounds and harm from him. His bow was made of dragon horn, his arrows shorn of ebony. Of silver was his habergeon, his scabbard of chalcedony. His sword of steel was valiant, of adamant his helmet tall, an eagle plume upon his crest, upon his breast an emerald. Beneath the moon and under star, he wandered far from northern strands, bewildered on enchanted ways, beyond the days of mortal lands. From gnashing of the narrow ice, where shadow lies on frozen hills, from nether heats and burning waste he turned in haste, and roving still on starless waters far astray. At last he came to night of naught, and past and never sight he saw, of shining shore nor light he sought. The winds of wrath came driving him, and blindly in the foam he fled, from west to east and errantless, unheralded he homeward sped. There flying Elwing came to him, and flame was in the darkness lit, more bright than light of diamond, the fire on her carcanet. The Silmaril she bound on him, and crowned him with the living light, and dauntless then with burning brow, he turned his prow, and in the night, from other world beyond the sea, there strong and free a storm arose, a wind of power on Tarmanel. By paths that seldom mortal goes, his boat it bore with biting breath, as might of death across the grey and long forsaken seas distressed. From east to west he passed away. Through ever night he back was borne, on black and warring waves that ran, o'er leagues unlit and foundering shores that drowned before the days began, until he hears on strands of pearl, where ends the world, the music long, wherever foaming billows roll, the yellow gold and jewels won. He saw the mountains silent rise, where twilight lies upon the knees of Valinor and Eldamar, beheld afar beyond the seas. A wanderer escaped from night, to haven white he came at last, to elven home the green and fair, where keen the air, where pale as glass, beneath the hill of Ilmarine, a glimmer in a valley sheer, the lamplit towers of Tirion are mirrored in the shadow near. He tarried there from errantry, and melodies they taught to him, and sages old him marvels told, and harps of gold they brought to him. They clothed him then in elven white, and 7 lights before him sent, as through the Calakirion to hidden lands forlorn he went. He came unto the timeless halls, where shining fall the countless years, and endless reigns the elder king, in Ilmarine on mountain sheer. And words unheard were spoken then, of folk and men and elven kin, beyond the world where vision showed, forbid to those that dwell therein. A ship then new they built for him, of mithril and of elven glass, with shining prow, no shaven oar, nor sail she bore on silver mast. The Silmaril as lantern light, on banner bright with living flame, to gleam thereon by Elbereth herself was set, who thither came, and wings immortal made for him, and laid on him undying doom, to sail the shoreless skies and come behind the sun and light of moon, from evergreens lofty hills, where softly silver fountains fall. His wings him bore a wandering light, beyond the mighty mountain wall. From world's end then he turned away, and yearned again to find afar his home, through shadows journeying, and burning as an island star. On high above the mists he came, a distant flame before the sun, a wonder ere the waking dawn, where gray the Norland waters run. And over Middle-earth he passed, and heard at last the weeping song of women and of elven maids, in elder days, in years of yore. But on him mighty doom was laid, till moon should fade, an orbit star to pass, and tarry nevermore on hither shores where mortals are, forever still a herald on, an errand that should never rest, to bear his shining lamp afar, the flamifer of Westerness.
Small piece. It's a very short one. I did it 3 years ago. And this one is to Elbereth. And on a night like this, when you can peek through the slats in the walls and you can see the stars, it seems appropriate. This again is in Quenya, and it is again set to a chant tune. And I need some water. Someone give me a drink. It's a tough business being a minstrel. This is very short.
Elbereth Gilthonia, Silivren Henamiria, Domela Glarena, Nacheret Palandiria, O Gala Freminen Ora, Anuilos, Lelina Fonefaya, Zina